calm down, cause he just wanna learn something, so I teach him something. I am the one that teach.
Call me 10 wins and 20.
Somewhere where we can get you in, because you just came in and I really want to hear from you. I want to hear your thoughts on things. Can we talk about that video you did the other day? Or
yeah, absolutely. The tampon bomb, the IPS inspired tampon bomb.
Man, I don't even know what that one is. Goodness gracious. It's like, oh, cover your ears.
What about the I guess knowledge scavenger and what they had to say about me?
Sure. Both, if you'd like.
Really, I'm pretty much done with this subject, actually, because it seems like the people that are very into it are either true believers or they're charlatans trying to make money off of people. And both sides really don't want to hear the truth that contradicts from their subjective truth. And so, you know, these people that go around and proselytize to children and other people, I think that should be a topic of discussion within the flat earth. If we, you know, are we so sure of ourselves that we could go up to a child and try to teach them something different? Now, is this authentic intent that's on the panel right now?
Yeah,
it is. How's it going, Tim?
Hey, pretty good. What do you think about that question about are you that sure that you should go and talk to children?
Yeah, I am that sure, because, Tim, you need to understand that we live in a reality of duality. And there's good and there's evil, there's black and there's white, there's up and there's down. And I don't conform to this reality anymore, Tim. So I'm going to do everything the establishment tells me, and I'm going to do the opposite of it. How does that grab you?
I don't know that I would advise that, and I don't know that you would be getting anywhere by trying to stick it to the man in such ways. I think that you could have probably a more refined tact when you do such things, and
I do a pretty good job, Tim.
What's that?
I do a pretty good job. You know, I'm nice to people. You know.
Are you 100% sure that you're right that Earth is flat?
Are you 100% right? Do you 100% believe that not showing your face and trying to have a pissing contest is anything that I need to talk to?
Okay, hold up. Referee comes in. Yellow card. Okay, so I'm curious as to, you know, we're kind of, I try to talk about all kinds of different things on my channel. For me personally, I think you must know, Tim, that I'm all about flat Earth. And actually the reason that I created my channel was because it seemed like it was the only way I was going to be able to talk with people who shared, you know, my thoughts. Before my channel, my only option really was to listen to other people talking about flat Earth. I had already watched hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and hours of video, and then I began getting interested in what people were saying, you know, in Hangouts and such. And so you end up listening to people, and eventually you want to share also, or you want to at least have a word in. And sometimes I've found that since I've created my own Hangouts, I can get a word in. Sometimes I'm just playing with all of you that know what I'm talking about. But so
yeah, I agree. I mean, that's where I come in, is that, you know, I did the flat Earth research, and it took me about 2 weeks to really figure out that things aren't adding up. And then I continued to follow these people, the Mark Sargents and all of these people. And yeah, you can go and watch this information. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's truthful information, that it's actually factually correct. And so all of these misconceptions are due to many of these videos, like Eric Dubé's videos and Mark Sargent's, where really what I'm trying to tell people is that, you know, the globe has 99 to 100% predictive capability in our reality. Nobody can contest that because we can check it and corroborate it ourselves. As far as the flat Earth goes, we're looking at probably about 0%, unless you want to go with your local area. So I'm just being realistic here in that the spherical model hasn't been debunked in any possible way. There are people on the other side of the coin that have been there the whole time making videos, but they're not as popular because the truth isn't as sexy as the conspiracy in the conspiracy crowd.
Well,
You're right. The truth isn't sexy, Tim. The truth is not sexy. People don't like to hear the truth because the truth hurts. And I actually became a flat earther because outer space is fake. Outer space is fake, dude.
Okay, I agree with you, Joshua, but let me say something real quick. So what I wonder, Tim, is like you've been around for a while. From what I gather, you're not a spring chicken on the internet and probably not YouTube. You've probably been involved in things that I know nothing about, and so I'm curious. When was it that you were first introduced to the idea of flat Earth when you did that 2 weeks of research?
Like late 2014, early 2015, and really, I mean, when I say research, I'm saying that I'm also corroborating what is being said by the flat earthers. So really, if you pick up a practical astronomy book, one of your first hints should be that there are two celestial poles and arc star trails over your zenith at the equator. This cannot be disputed by flat earthers. This is reality. This is what any flat earther can go out and see and corroborate themselves. So I started to do that kind of thing, and I started to see everything fall flat right there. So I continued on, and it's been over 2.5 years I've been in this.
Okay. And so what you've been in this for longer than I have, and you have done some research. Your thoughts are different from mine. And so my first question is, like, how have you ever done any, how do you explain curvature? Is it all mirages for you, or is it something else? How do you get past the curvature discrepancies? Because to me, that just shows.
Well, actually, I just talked with the geodetic surveyor yesterday on a private hangout, and I continue to do research into these topics, and things aren't as easy as they seem to be when you watch the flat Earth content. There's curvature all over the place. One of my last videos, like a week and a half ago, Flat Earth Debunked, has tons of video evidence, because really, at the end of the day, flat earthers will have their belief most of all because of what they've seen, you know, through an Eric Dubay video or whatever.
Not
so
really.
Well, a lot of them do.
If you're anything like me, though, you looked at these videos, and probably the only reason that you looked at the videos, I've heard this time and time again, and this was absolutely my experience. I wanted a good laugh. I watched a flat Earth video to laugh, and when I didn't get that laugh, I had to go and do my own research. And people say, "Well, doing your own research doesn't mean." I mean, people want me to go out and launch rockets and balloons. I don't actually have to do that. I can use the internet, and I can look at information. I can analyze data. I can. I don't actually have to get out in the field because so much has already been done. So curvature, I mean, there is a problem, I think. Like if you look at the Hawaiian Islands, you've got water. So it appears to be quite flat.
Well, the whole thing about that is usually it's from a pretty high observation point. So you can look up longest line of sight, and it's usually from a top of a mountain to another top of a mountain, basically. And it is being obstructed by the curvature of the Earth. And furthermore, really, the stars aren't coalescing at the horizon. They are pretty much showing evidence that there's curvature. The angular diameter of the sun and the moon, that doesn't change in its direction throughout the whole day while it's supposedly traveling on a flat plane. You know, none of this fits the model. As sun set, where it doesn't change in angular diameter throughout the whole day, and then it sets for 5 to 10 minutes. This should be, to a logical mind, a rational mind, evidence for curvature, because the sun is not going into the flat plane. And you can say it's perspective or some kind of a mirage or whatever, but really we're trying to talk about reality here, and a lot of flat Earth is not reality.
Yeah. Well,
So I have a question, Tim.
on everything.
Why is it I have a quick question. Why is it that you are so gung-ho about like trying to disprove flat Earth, or like get people who are new to it to like, hey, you might want to second guess like what you're doing here. Like it seems like you're the guy who like comes up alongside somebody and's like, hey, how's it going, man? You know, like I think I just get that impression like you know more than you're letting on, and I would like to just kind of present that. Like, is that why is it that this is so important to you?
Because I'm what they really should call an objective skeptic, and I do care that people go down these rabbit holes that will take years and years for them to get themselves out of, if they do. And so most of these people basically, in the conspiracy crowd, a lot of people crumbled off into the flat Earth. And, I mean, if you look at most people, they're not doing any other content but flat Earth, watching flat Earth, being in the chat of flat Earth. So these people are basically useless because to me, it's a sophism, psyop, Trojan horse that actually the elite put in so that people like you will go on the street and try to get more followers.
I was wearing this shirt on a title video for Trojan Horse. I don't look a day over 24, 23. If I wear this Minnesota Golden Gophers shirt, downtown Minneapolis, University of Minnesota, I'm in like a dirty shirt, man. You know, I don't just talk about flat Earth, but I also let people know that NASA is fake. You won't talk about it. And 3 towers fell on that day in 9/11. And a lot of college kids don't believe that.
Actually, about seven to 9 buildings fell that day. Actually, but you're also
Sure.
you're missing the point that there is an objective truth here, and either I'm not going to put it in a dichotomy because it can be inverse and it can be other shit. But I'm just saying that pretty much it's either a sphere or it's flat, and you're going around with it's flat, and there's actually no demonstrable evidence towards that, and plenty for the sphere model. So I mean,
okay.
really, you're doing the work of the elites.
Real quick, let me get in on my show real quick. All right, so this isn't a flat Earth show, and I don't really want to go like that. What I'd rather know is, like, as long as Tim, you're here willing to talk, I think this is awesome. And if I didn't already thank you so much for coming on. I mean, that's cool.
Thanks for the invite. Yeah.
All right. So I'll put my mic down, but that doesn't mean I'm finished talking. So my question is, like, going back, I'd just like to know, like, who is Mr. Tim Osman here? I want to know. So what are your thoughts on NASA? We understand you don't believe that the Earth is flat. What are your thoughts on NASA, though?
I think that there might be some fishy things because that is part of my research that I did myself. Went back and watched tons of their old videos, and I do video work and graphic editing, so I'm pretty firm on things that look a little fishy. So I will say that a lot of things that I did find, some things were pretty fishy. Now, stop that real quick and then look at all of the flat Earth content and how they all of their claims about NASA. I've personally debunked myself. I mean, they're just absolutely ridiculous. Bubbles in space, blue screens when it's just a demonstration screen, all of these different types of things. So that's another thing why I call it a Trojan horse, because basically, anybody that might have questions into NASA now can be tarred with the same brush in saying that, oh, what are you, some flat Earth idiot, basically. So it's a multi-pronged psyop, in my opinion, flat Earth is.
All right. So you just think NASA's fishy. You don't, I mean,
Well, I've seen, things like a funny thing happens on the way to the moon, and I've done research into some of those claims, and him saying, oh, this is a secret video that I found, and come to find out it's been there for a long time, and he's actually omitted videos that actually have the light on in the unit while they're going to the moon. So a lot of these things are like lie by omission or lie by misconception. Like if you watch an Eric Dubay video where they say, oh, the Earth is spinning 1,000 miles an hour, then they spin a globe like super duper fast. Really, it's only 1 revolution per day, per 24 hours, but you're going to spin it really fast and say 1,000 miles at the same time. So people start getting these false misconceptions in their head. And I've been here pretty much as a stalwart, just trying to defend against this. And really, I don't care anymore. I don't. Like, it's going to fall from the inside. The house of cards is soon to fall. And nowadays, there's really no one legit left. It's just a bunch of true believers and charlatans, in my opinion.
So I have another question for you. What do you think, what would be the point of having like full on, not just like really analyze this. Maybe you have already, so that would be good. But of having a flat Earth psyop, what's the point?
Well, there's a ton. There's a ton, and really you can't really know because it's probably up to the PR company or the governmental agency that put it in
we
place.
have to be able to come up with some ideas that we should have like a whole sack full that we could just throw out there. I mean, I just like most people. Who wants to share something like flat Earth when everyone's going to just call you crazy? So it looks to me like the people who have taken the time to look into this and see that it actually makes a whole lot more sense than the globe, in my opinion, and we share this with others, we're the ones putting ourselves out on the line. People who are defending the globe, they're just defending the status quo and they'll be hailed as heroes.
Well, truthfully, that would be kind of with a presuppositional belief that the Earth is flat. Now, if it's a sphere and you guys are going around and creating a bunch of dis and misinfo, dragging a bunch of people into a conspiracy that is absolutely objectively false, and continuing to spin your wheels in this idea and not do anything else that actually could be productive because you're quote unquote woken up, well, then that is part of the psyop. That is where they win. And it's just, the evidence really will, when you look at those flat Earth videos and you have a conspiratorial bias, I promise you, I was there and I've learned so much about the conspiratorial gullibility that I had as well. And so that's part of it, is that I've tried to help people out of it, because you become such a greater person when you come out of it and say, wow, the evidence actually does lie with the sphere. And I was fooled, and you know what, I'm going to be more careful about it next time.
I got a question for you, Tim. What do you think about the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation?
I don't have too many thoughts about that.
Oh. So you didn't see that video that I did about the CF Foundation at the Great Strides Walk on May 6th of 2017?
No.
Okay. And maybe you might want to go through there and spend your 2 weeks and research what I put up and the information that I, put in the comment section, and then you can debunk that.
Well, you're kind of blowing what I said out of context. I said that I researched into the globe for about 2 weeks, and that's how long it took me to really figure out how big a bullshit the flat Earth is. And it's not like I stopped there. If you've actually watched some of my videos where I talk with Jaron and some of these top people, they don't like to talk to me anymore because I'm the person that doesn't bring NASA into it. The presuppositional beliefs that we don't believe in NASA or the moon landing or anything like that. I have observational evidences that would lead one to believe that they're on a sphere, and then they can justify a belief with a preponderance of evidence. Now, if you believe in the flat Earth, you have a preponderance of logical fallacies, and so that's why I've tried to help people.
Okay, so you know for sure that we live on a ball globe Earth because of the pictures that they gave us of Earth.
I never said anything about pictures, did I?
No, I know, but you're not going to go that route, so you're going to use the evidence that is both
empirical evidence,
the flat Earth idea, right, on water, right, and then your globe idea. So why don't you just take that to court, and why don't we just resolve this once and for all?
Well,
why are we waiting for an event to happen?
When confronted with two differing paradigms, you definitely want to logically and unbiasedly check them out. And it seems as though people get an emotional bias, a conspiratorial bias towards some things. And I could sit down with you. We could even have a debate for an hour and a half where you wouldn't be able to provide.
How are we going to sit down with each other? We won't be able to bring a casing for you to sit in, so I can't see your face, even though we're going to sit next to each other.
My face is known, and really, it's besides the point, because it's the information that I provide that you can go out and corroborate. It's empirical evidence.
Your face isn't known to me, man. I don't know your face. I don't know what you look like.
Did you not know that I had a live at the Denver meeting, and I pretty much egged on?
I don't know if that's real or not, dude. Never seen you in person. I don't know who you are. Yeah, really.
Okay. Well, that's kind of how far you are down the conspiracy rabbit hole. But I would suggest that you should probably ponder. You should probably ponder and really prove this thing before you start talking to children. Is kind of one of my main points here.
I can talk to whoever I want to in Minnesota. Ordinance 626.02. I can talk to anybody I want to in public, openly, because of my First Amendment rights to speak freely about my opinions.
And I wouldn't take that away from you, but you know what? When you figure this out, I think that you'll feel like a fool.
I don't care, man. I was told I was gonna die before I graduated high school, Tim. Okay, I was told to get a lung transplant at 10 years old. You gonna make a fool out of me, dude? Big deal, man. I was born with a terminal illness, and I was told I was gonna die my whole life, and I'm still alive.
I'm not the
And I'm
one
like,
trying to
wow,
make
I
a
just
fool out of
wasted
you.
my whole entire life.
I'm saying that you go around. I'm not the one trying to make a fool out of you, dude. I'm just saying that when you go around, you make a fool of yourself. And me stepping in and saying, hey, what kind of evidence do you actually have? Are you really an objective skeptic here? Because there's a lot more evidence for the sphere. And I could go through them with you if you'd like. But if you want to stay in the flat earth bubble hole, the echo chamber, that's up to you. But don't call
What did I
yourself a
just
truther.
tell you, Tim? What did I
Okay.
just tell you, dude? Space is fake, man.
Time out real quick. Time
We
out.
can't go to the moon, and we've never been to Mars, man.
Okay,
Give
Joshua.
me a break.
Time out. Okay, my purpose wasn't to get riled up. I know you men like to. I you know what? If Tim was my brother, I would have some. He wouldn't be on. But I'm not related to Tim, so I can have some objectivity, which I can't have with my own family members. So I thought it'd be interesting to hear what Tim had to say about these things. We have RH Negs in the chat who would like to talk, Rhesus Factor. So I'm going to go ahead and steer the conversation back to Rhesus Factor. Tim, I appreciate you coming on. And
Yeah, thanks for having me on, girl. Appreciate it.
Joshua, you guys shake hands because I didn't mean to. It's hard. We have different thoughts. We disagree. I disagree with you, Tim.
Listen, it's perfectly
I don't know if
healthy
you can shake my hand.
to.
I can't see him shaking my hand.
It's perfectly healthy for people to disagree, and if we're on the pursuit of truth, then we probably should listen to people that disagree, so that we can at least hone our arguments for what we do believe. So thanks for having me on. I do appreciate it, and this has been a public service announcement by Timothy Osman.
Oh, I wanted my friend Timothy Osman on, not the PSA. All right. Okay. I've never talked to Tim Osman before, so that was different. And I'm glad he came on. And I really am sorry, Joshua. I didn't mean to. This is not supposed to be.
I totally understand what was going on there, and I just let it play out, and I was like, fine, let's get this over with. So